In the beginning, there was only the water and the clay. Between the Tigris and the Euphrates,
Before the stone, there was the reed. The people of the black-headed race gather, building shelters against the harsh winds and the burning sun.
But reeds decay. To build for eternity, they turn to the earth itself. Sun dry.
the rivers are unpredictable gods. Through canals and dikes, the chaos of the flood is tamed. Control over water brings the harvest. For the first time in history, there is surplus. Innovation follows necessity. The wheel, first used for pottery, will soon set the world in motion.
The city belongs to the god. A high platform is raised, lifting the sacred shrine above the mortal plane, closer to the heavens. To manage the wealth of the city, memory is not enough. Marks on clay evolve into a system. Writing is born not for poetry, but for accounting.
Sumer lacks timber and stone, but the rivers connect them to the world. Trade routes open, bringing
Akkad. From the mud of the marshes, Uruk has risen, the first true city in the history of mankind. The gods must be fed and worshipped constantly. To ensure eternal devotion, they carve.
Identity becomes tangible. The cylinder seal acts as a signature, a mark of ownership and authority that cannot be forged.
Water can carry disease, but beer is safe. Brewing becomes a sacred industry, providing nourishment and payment for the workers who build the city.
The flocks of sheep on the plains provide the raw material. Sumerian textiles become famous.
Stone tools are replaced by metal. Copper is smelted and cast. The age of metal begins.
The complexity of the city requires a new class of people. In the tablet house, young minds are trained.
They look to the heavens to understand the earth. Watching the stars, they map the seasons and create the calendar.
The wheel is adapted for transport. Heavy carts move goods faster than any human. The logistics of the empire are transformed.
Civilization requires order. Laws are established to govern conduct. The strong are forbidden from oppressing the weak, at least in principle.
As wealth grows, so does the need for protection. The great walls of Uruk are raised.
Wealth of the temple is measured in grain and wool. The shepherd kings ensure the prosperity of the land and the favor of the gods.
The river is the highway of the ancient world. From the Persian Gulf to the mountains, goods flow into the heart of Sumer. From distant mountains comes lapis lazuli. This blue stone, the color of the night sky, is prized. The air is thick with the scent of cedar and resin. Rituals bind the community together, a shared.
The king does not rule alone. The assembly of elders advises on matters of war and peace. A primitive
land without forests or stone quarries, clay is the gold of Sumer. It builds their homes, their temples, and holds their history.
The invention of the plow revolutionizes agriculture. Fewer hands can now feed more mouths, freeing.
Art serves power. Stone steels depict the victories of the city-state, warning enemies and immortalizing the glory of the ruler.
Under the cover of darkness, the city breathes. The silence is fragile, guarded by the vigilance of those who hold the weight of the crown. The foundation is laid. The swamp has become a civilization. Now, Sumer.
The state feeds the people. Standardized bowls measure the daily ration of grain. This is the world's first.
As cities rival each other, the farmer must become a warrior. The first organized armies in history are drilled to fight as one single body.
Copper is hammered into deadly forms. The socketed axe and the spear tip give the Sumerian soldier a technological edge over the barbarian tribes.
Terror of the ancient battlefield. Heavy war wagons drawn by onagers trample the enemy.
Discipline defeats chaos. The shield wall, a tactic that will be used for thousands of years, makes the
Victory brings slaves. The defeated lose their freedom, becoming the workforce that will raise the walls even higher.
Not all battles are fought with spears. Diplomacy begins here, as rival city-states negotiate.
culture blooms alongside power.
The sound of the lyre fills the royal courts, singing of heroes, gods, and the destiny of kings.
Ensi is no longer just a priest, he is a king. The formation of the state is complete. Sumer is ready to rule the world.
Centuries pass. The foundations have settled. Now, the seeds planted in the mud will blossom into a golden age of empire.
The Ziggurat of Ur, a mountain built by human hands. It stands as the physical center of the universe.
Ur is the port of the world. Copper from Oman, ivory from the Indus Valley, timber.
The marketplace is the beating heart of the empire. Here, languages mix and goods change hands.
The artisans of Ur achieve perfection. Gold and semi-precious stones are crafted into masterpieces.
Stories are no longer just spoken, they are written. The Epic of Gilgamesh, the first great work of literature.
They divide the circle into 360 degrees, the hour into 60 minutes. Sumerian mathematics.
Medicine is a mix of science and magic. Doctors treat the body with herbs, while exorcists drive out the demons of sickness.
The abundance of the land is celebrated in feasts. Music, beer, and food flew freely.
The empire runs on bureaucracy. Every sheep, every basket of grain, every labor hour is recorded.
Sumer is at its zenith. The desert has been tamed, the gods are appeased, and the king of Sumer and
Gods are not distant, they live in the city. On feast days, they are carried through the streets so the people may behold their divine protectors.
Humanity was created to serve. Through daily offerings of food and drink, the cosmic order is maintained, and the wrath of the heavens is averted.
Jesus. Women hold positions of immense power in the temple. The high priestess, often the daughter of the king, manages vast.
The Sumerian home turns inward, away from the dust and noise of the street. Life revolves.
Even in the dawn of history, childhood exists. Small clay toys mirror the adult world.
Long before Hammurabi, Ur-Nammu decrees the first code of law. Justice is no longer arbitrary.
The rule of law binds the society. Contracts are signed, witnesses are called, and judges deliver verdicts that citizens. The date palm is the tree of life. It provides food, shade, timber, and fiber. In the school,
Ingenuity conquers gravity. The shadoof allows farmers to water gardens high above the river, expanding the green belt deeper into the desert.
The marshes remain a source of abundance. Fish and waterfowl supplement the diet of grain, providing protein for the growing population.
Industry scales up. Pottery is no longer just a craft. It is a factory operation, churning out.
Even kings need respite. The royal game of Ur is played with dice and strategy.
taxes are paid in kind, but trade requires a standard. Silver rings and coils act as the first currency.
Urban planning extends underground. Clay pipes carry waste away from the homes, a feat of sanitation engineering that rivals modern cities.
The skill of the Sumerian goldsmith is unmatched. They master techniques of soldering and filigree that will not be.
Information is power. A network of royal runners keeps the capital connected to the furthest. Land is the ultimate wealth. Detailed maps record ownership and boundaries, preventing dispute.
Behind the public spectacle, there is private devotion. The king carries the burden of the state, seeking guidance in the silence of the shrine. The night sky is a book written by the gods. By reading the omens in the stars, they seek to predict the future of the kingdom.
Order seems eternal. The land is fat, the people are fed, and the walls are strong.
The very water that gave life now brings a slow poison. Centuries of irrigation leave salt in the. Wheat yields begin to fall. The farm forced to switch to barley, a hardier crop that can tolerate salt.
The river carries silt that chokes the canals. It takes an army of laborers just to keep the water flowing.
When the earth fails, they turn to the sky. Rituals become more intense, begging the storm god endless. Water becomes more precious than gold. Cities upstream divert the flow, leading those downstream to thirst. The administration becomes a victim of its own success. The bureaucracy is heavy, slow, and corrupt.
From the western deserts, the Amorites appear. They are people who know no grain, who live in tents.
The open plains are no longer safe. The walls must be higher, thicker. The city turns into a fortress.
Resources are diverted from art to war. Copper is for spearheads, not statues. The city prepares for a siege that has not yet begun.
Fear breeds superstition. The king consults the omens daily, reading the livers of sacrificed.
Climate itself turns hostile. Great dust storms sweep in from the drying plains, burying the streets and choking the air.
The gods are angry. Enlil, the lord of the wind, sends his fury against the city. There is nowhere to hide from the dust.
The storm passes, but the damage remains. The fragile infrastructure of irrigation is crippled.
The granaries are not as full as they once were. Rations are cut. The social contract, labor for food, begins to fray.
Hunger brings dissent. Whispers of rebellion echo in the alleyways. Is the king still? The vigilance required to hold the empire together is exhausting. The soldiers are tired.
News arrives from the north. Vassal cities are refusing to pay tribute. The web of alliances that held Sumer together is snapping.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown of Uruk. The golden age is ending, and the king...
In the Zagros Mountains to the east, the Elamites are gathering. The smoke of burning villages signals.
The sun sets on the age of builders. The age of destroyers is at hand.
Sumer holds a network of towers, lights up. The warning travels faster than a horse. The outer provinces are falling. The circle is closing.
Fear drives the farmers from their fields. They flood into the walled cities for protection, bringing their animals, their hunger, and their panic. Uruk was built for thousands, not tens of thousands. The infrastructure buckles. Streets become camps, and sanitation fails. The economy collapses, prices skyrocket. A month's wages in silver can no longer buy a day's worth of bread. Gold is worthless, grain is king. Where crowds gather, death follows. Plague spreads through the cramped city, an invisible enemy that no wall can keep out. The countryside empties. The heartland of Sumer, once teeming with life, becomes a ghost land.
Heritage is sacrificed for survival. Art is melted down to pay mercenaries. The beauty of the past is consumed by the urgency of the present.
The remaining food is seized for the army. The people are left to fend for themselves. The king must choose who eats and who starves.
Strain breaks the man. He is the shepherd who has lost his flock. In the mirror, he sees not a god, but a mortal facing the end.
They are testing the defenses. The vultures are circling. It is no longer a question of if they will attack, but when. The lament for begins before the city even fall. A mournful...
Those with wealth flee to the south, to the marshes. The captain stays with the sinking ship. The link to the outside world is severed. Before the enemy breaches the walls, the city eats itself. Hunger destroys loyalty. The social order dissolves into violence.
Order is restored with iron and blood. The king imposes absolute rule. Liberty is a memory, only discipline remains. The horizon fills with spears. The Elamites and Amorites have united. The siege begins. The noose tightens around the neck of Sumer. Thirst becomes the new enemy. The besiegers have dammed the canals upstream.
The Garden of Eden withers. Nature itself seems to surrender. The cycle of abundance has turned into a cycle of decay.
The waiting is the hardest part. The city holds its breath. Tonight, they pray. Tomorrow, they bleed. The golden age is over. The sun rises on a day of fire. The fall of Sumer has begun.
The walls of Uruk were thought to be eternal, but wood rots, stone cracks, and no...
The breach is made. The order of the city collapses in an instant. The chaos of the wild steppe floods into the civilized streets. Battle moves from house to house. The narrow alleys, once designed for shade and privacy, become deadly traps.
Fire is the conqueror's favorite weapon. The reed and timber roofs catch instantly. The city becomes a furnace. The wisdom of centuries is smashed in a moment of rage. History, astronomy, law.
The gods have been stolen. The statues are carried off to Elam as trophies.
Stairway to heaven is closed. The smoke of the burning temple rises, a dark offering that no god will accept.
The king is king no more. The crown passes to the victor. The lineage that traced itself back to the flood is broken.
Ur is destroyed, its people are dispersed, the lamentation comes true. The builders of civilization become slaves in a foreign land.
The light of Sumer, which shone for 1,000 years, is extinguished. The night reclaims the plain.
Silence returns. The screams have faded. The wind blows through the open gates, carrying the scent of ash.
Where kings once walked, scavengers now roam. The city belongs to the wild once again.
Without the engineers to dredge them, the arteries of the empire clog and die. The fertile fields turn back into salty dust.
Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. The stone faces of power are toppled.
The desert is patient. Grain by grain it creeps back in, burying the homes, the temples, and the palaces.
A few remain, living in the shadows of giants. They tell stories of a golden age.
The words are still there, baked into the clay. But there is no one left to read them.
Mud brick is born from the earth and returns to it. Without maintenance, the magnificent ziggurats dissolve into shapeless mounds of dirt.
Decades turn into centuries. The name of the king is forgotten. The borders of the empire are erased by the wind.
The great city becomes a tell, a silent mound of earth rising from the plain.
The cities of Sumer were abandoned, returning to the desert. For 2,000 years, the wind was the only but the clay remembers. Hidden beneath the mounds lay thousands of tablets, a library of knowledge waiting to speak again.
Every time we count 60 seconds in a minute, or 360 degrees in a circle, we are using the mathematics of Sumer.
The wheel, the foundation of all transport and machinery. It was here, on these muddy plains. They gave us the concept of signature, of identity, of law. The idea that a contract is...
They showed us the complexity of society, the division of labor, the hierarchy, the celebration of peace, and the brutality of war. They were the first astronomers. They named the constellations that we still recognize today, mapping the chaos of the heavens.
And they gave us the story, the epic of Gilgamesh, the first hero, the first quest for immortality.
They invented the arch, the dome, and the column. The architectural vocabulary of the world was written in Sumerian mud brick. The empire turned to dust, but its foundation remained. Sumer was not just a place, it was the beginning of the human experiment.
Though their language died, their inventions lived on. The Babylonians, Assyrians, and Persians,
The rivers still flow. The Tigris and Euphrates continue their journey to the sea, indifferent to the rise and fall of kings.
Life returns. The cycle of nature outlasts the cycle of empire. The date palm still bears fruit in the garden of the gods. We look into their wide, staring eyes and see ourselves. Their fears, their hopes, and their ambition are no different from our own.
They were the black-headed people, the pioneers who walked out of the mist and built the first world.
Their cities are dust. Their bronze has turned to green rust. But their legacy is immortal.
civilization. It began here, between the two rivers, in the fertile mud of Sumer.
We are all heirs to Sumer. Every time we write, every time we build, every time we look at a watch, we remember them.
The sun sets on the first empire, but the light it kindled will never go out. This was Sumer, the cradle of civilization.